Zongeldek, 1993. I live in a village in Zongeldek. My name is Dilaver. When I was a child, the women in our village would gather in a house at night and tell each other frightening stories about jinn. In doing so, they would unnecessarily scare themselves as a child. I often went to these meetings with my mother, listened to the stories, and was affected by them. Our village is neglected, secluded, an old mountain village. All the roads are uphill, and there is not a single flat road. There isn't even street lighting at the bottom of the village. There is a mill my parents used to go to the mill in the early morning and make corn flour until evening. Around the mill, there were also black mulberry and fig trees. One day, I went to the mill with my parents. It was still dark. It was almost like night. We brought sacks of corn to grind into flour. I needed to pee. The mill didn't have a toilet, so I had to pee under a nearby fig tree. After I finished, I went back to the mill. While working at the mill, my mother told me, "I'll go home and come back. Don't go anywhere." Whether it was psychological or not, when my mother left and I was alone at the mill, I started hearing whispers like shh, shh. The mill door also suddenly opened by itself, making me even more tense. I thought, could there be someone outside? Dan went outside to check. As I looked around, I saw someone standing under the fig tree, or so it seemed to me. The mill's light barely reached The mill's light barely reached that area. Maybe that's why. I perceived a shadowy figure looking at me. The thought crossed my mind, could it be a jinn? With this thought, I shuddered. I quickly went back into the mill, closed the door, but it opened again. The door forcefully opened on its own, and in my panic, I didn't know what to do. Instinctively, I wanted to run towards home as soon as I went out of the mill, but as soon as I did, I saw dozens of shadows surrounding the mill. In a panic, I went back into the mill and sat on the floor, crying and reciting the prayers that came to my mind. I had lost myself in fear at that moment. My mother arrived and took me home. In the process, I had apparently bruised my mother's arm with my nails, completely unaware of what I was doing. When I regained consciousness at home, my family asked me what had happened and why I was so scared. I didn't tell anyone what I had seen. I was afraid that recounting would make me relive the same fear. In the following days, I tried to forget those shadows I had seen, but the nightmares I started having wouldn't allow me to dot in my dreams. Someone was constantly trying to drown me. These dreams were so realistic that I often woke up breathless. I would have these nightmares every night that I went to bed without performing ablution. Seeing how much my mental state deteriorated, my family took me to the imam of the village mosque. They explained my situation to him. However, the mosque imam didn't see any problem with me. He said I was in good condition and that my troubles could be psychological, but I wasn't crazy. Seeing that the mosque imams might not be knowledgeable in these matters, my family took me to another religious scholar. This time the scholar was experienced in dealing with issues like jinn possession and breaking spells. When I met this scholar, he placed a bowl of water in front of me. He said, "Now, look carefully at this water. If you see anything in it, tell me what you see." I swear I saw the ones trying to drown me in the water in my dream I told the scholar what I saw. I answered his questions. Finally, he gave me an amulet. You must carry this amulet with you at all times, as long as you have it. Jinn cannot approach you and harm you, but if you take it off or lose it, they may possess you and even cause your death. He said. I wore that amulet around my neck for years. Since that day, I have not experienced any disturbances related to Jinn.